This is Between the Lines. Today, we dissect the road less traveled.
Hello, again, Carol from Uruguay. We'll continue with this book, The Road Less Traveled. And this chapter is called Dedication to Reality. And the doctor talks a lot about how we tend, or how you tend to, or prefer to live up a fantasy or unreal things in your head instead of coming back to Earth and living in your real world. Because he, as in all the book, he says this is some kind of painful because nobody tells us how to map our reality when we are born. And when we realize that we have no map, we don't know where we are, we don't know where we're going, we don't know almost anything about ourselves at certain age. This could happen from childhood up to adulthood, and many of us happen to understand that we need to map our life or our reality when we are adults. And by mapping that, you have to go back a little bit, or maybe a lot, to your past and understand how your life has been developing and where have you been in different stages in your life, so you can connect the dots on these maps and pinpoint of things that need to be solved still, or that are causing some problems in other areas of your life. And we have to really understand where we are in order to move forward. So this is kind of painful because, like almost every human, we have at least one traumatic experience in our life. I would say I don't know any people personally that have no problems at all. And the ones that I've heard say that they don't have any problems, sometimes they just bury them in their past, but they are still there. So yes. And we also have another thing that this is from my part, that the doctor doesn't say this specifically here. Maybe not just now, maybe we will address that later. But when we are talking about the truth or the reality, he says that truth is reality. Your truth, of course, your truth is your reality, because I think this truth, because I think this truth, because I think this truth is not actually universal, but it's individual. So you can have your truth, I can have mine, or my reality, you will have your reality, and it will be based on your beliefs, your ideas, your principles, your own rules, your past experiences, your wisdom or lack of, or in the middle. And yes, it's kind of a complexity or a very own world inside yourself. So you have your world or your reality or your truth, and I have mine, and the other happens to everyone else in the world. And to a lesser or greater degree, we tend to avoid doing that or becoming real, because it's really painful to be able to treat yourself, learn about yourself, undergo therapy is one of them. Of course, if the more traumatic the thing that you, or the things or your life it is maybe more painful to undergo this. But if you don't, you will never be free, as we saw in the previous chapter. So in order to really be free from your own things that have happened in life and be able to translate that into a map of your own life and understanding your reality and understanding your truth, you need to do that work on you. And during this work, it's like I imagine like you are going into a jungle. It's full of things in your way, and you have to go on by clearing the way and taking out all the illusions, the fantasies, the misconceptions you have had in your life, the things that you have that are unclear for you, the things that are difficult for you, and you have to like put them aside or and decide. This could be, this is more related, I think, that an example that I really like, that is like cleaning a house that's completely a mess. You need to start somewhere, and the more you clean the house or the more you organize the things in the house, the easier it becomes. And also you will start to see the patterns that are in your life, in your closet, in your room, in your house. And it takes effort. It takes really effort and willingness from you in order to be able to go through that process. That is why it is difficult for us to start doing that, especially when we realize that we have to do that generally as adults. Or yes, as adults. And maybe we are not yet adults because we haven't done that kind of work on ourselves, but we are only adults on certain areas of our life, and in others we can be behaving like child or like children. And in this chapter, it is also considered, the doctor says, that it is not only that we have to create this map for us, I have to put the effort on that, but also once we have a map, what we do? We have to continue updating our beliefs, our concepts, are the things that we think may be updated with some other situation that we encounter in the future. Or so we are constantly evolving and updating this map and trying to understand where we are, because maybe we wanted to go, let's say we are a map, we wanted to go towards left, towards right, and you ended up going towards left, and maybe you moved away from your goal, and you have to decide, okay, I have moved from that goal, my goal was there, but I had to go in this situation and I have to solve this first. I'm right here right now. What do I do? Do I keep pursuing my first goal, or do I solve the situation right now? What do I do? So all the time we are making this kind of decisions and moving forward and backwards and different directions. And you have to be able to reflect on that thing that you are doing or that you want to do, and also update your map. So it's a lot of effort, and that is why it's so difficult. And we are not here in order to avoid that difficulty, because as we saw in previous chapters, if we avoid this, we will never be free, we will never grow up, we will never become our better versions or ourselves, right? And yes, you can decide not to do that, but we are here in order to do that, to become, to update our maps constantly, to become the best versions that we can at the moment. So this is a lifelong process. It's not just one thing that you do right now and then you forget. So again, yes, it's difficult, it's constant, and it takes a lot of energy, and because we have to make those revisions from time to time, we have to consciously decide where to go, how to do the things that we want to do, and that kind of thing. So we need some direction and planning. You can do this unconsciously again, just by living and doing whatever, but I don't think that's the idea that we have here. If you are in this chapter right now, and we still have a long road forward. So here is the process. How you do that? How do you, first of all, if you if you don't have a map, you have to create one wherever the age you are at. You have to understand where you are, and we will be talking more in the next chapter. First of all, create your map. It could be at first in sketch, just with a few lines, we could say, and then pinpointing and understanding different places you've been in the past and trying to make it the most updated version that you can. If you had a map now, when you get new information, it could be like new information could be like a situation that I have never had in my life and that's completely new. For example, I've been laid off from my job and I don't know what to do. I have never passed through this situation before. Or I have broken up with a partner and I have never had that kind of experience before. And or maybe I have had these experiences, but these are totally different from the previous one. So that is all new information. Or I have read, for example, a book that has made a great impression on me, and I have decided that maybe this book has some wisdom that I want to incorporate into my life. So it doesn't have to be like something that's breaking my heart in order for me to update the map. I can do that with good situations too, but they are like the lesser ones, we could say. And actually, the doctor said that we generally learn from painful experiences. So when you do have this information, you have to do this reflection time, and you have to understand what you are feeling. That is why it is important for you to have some companion during the process to guide you or to just be with you throughout the process and maybe ask questions in order for you to understand your current situation and also what are you feeling about this, how are you, what are the possible actions that you could take. Well, understand the whole situation, right? And especially once you have analyzed the situation, what you are going to do. Are you going to stay in the same place or are you going to move? And in which of the options that you have available? And especially why you are making that decision. So there are a lot of questions involved in this situation with this new information. And if you are conscious about that, because this can also happen unconsciously, you can be, I don't know, laid off from your job, or you can break up with your couple and just do whatever, and you don't want to think about that and you don't want to act upon anything, and that's taking the unconscious way. So you will never know where you will end up with that. Or you have less chances to be free from that situation. And really free in the sense of feeling at peace, I guess, feeling okay with the result, because you are taking the responsibility of saying, okay, I am doing X, Y, Z in order to cope with this thing, and I think it's the best because this is this, right? But you analyze it and you know where you are going to. I would say that the unconscious way is the worst one of all, but we all take those kind of approaches sometimes because we have so many things on our plate, and sometimes you have to decide where to go on just one. But if you can also, I don't know, take notes. You can find your own way of doing that by journaling or by taking notes somehow of the things. Okay, I have this thing right now that's I couldn't really decide or resolve or think at this time because I have, I don't know, 3, 4 or other priorities. So you can keep that in mind in order to treat that thing when you can, right? Or maybe in the near future. So it doesn't happen that unconsciously, you could say, but that's taking also a decision. So I don't think that's fully unconscious. That's my perspective. And this is the way, once you have updated your map, or where you know where you are going forward, you don't have to write a map if you don't want to, because you can use, I don't know, like many tools. But we are not talking about specific tools. We are talking in general. Oh, how is the process? So once you analyze and decide what to do with the situation you are resolving, you have this new information. What you do is you move up to the next thing in life, because life is evolving and is constantly going on, and things happen all the time. So it could be like a minor thing that changes your perception, changes your this new information. I mean, it could be something small, or it could be huge, like a huge trauma. I don't know, you had a terrible accident and that changes your whole life. Or it could be just, I read something in a book like this one and I said, wow, maybe I need to change something in my life regarding this. So I have to update my map. So this goes, oh, sorry. So this goes on forever. And this is what this chapter is about. And I hope you find this useful. And again, I love this book and I think it's really good. And so far, again, it isn't disappointed me at all. So I hope you find some wisdom too from this book, and comment on the things that you have learned from this, if you have. And yes, I see you in the next chapter, and I hope you like it. You can do everything that goes on in here in YouTube. Also, you can, if you want, for me to continue doing this, because I have several books that I want to share with you. If you want, you can invite me for a coffee if you want. So yeah, that's it for now. Thank you very much for being here. Bye bye.
Stay tuned for Ulua's next episode.